Hi there, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Garcia. We are going to be working on box 2 of our learning board for the week. Now, what you're going to do on box 2 is you're going to be working on inferencing. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to listen to the story of the week, which is Giggle, Giggle, Quack, Quack. Now, remember that is by Doreen Cronin. Now, what you're going to do is it tells you listen to the story, make an inference. Who wrote the notes that Bob was reading? Use your schema and text evidence. Now we're going to talk a little bit about making inferences, okay? Now sometimes authors, when they make their story, they don't always tell everything about a character, everything about an event. Now, what we have to do as good readers is we have to use the evidence, so the story clues, and we have to use our background knowledge, which is our schema, to make an inference. Those two things we put together and bam, we got an inference, okay? Now let's talk a little bit about what is schema. Now schema is our background knowledge, stuff I already know. Now what I like to tell my students in my class is that our schema is a secret file folder you have in your brain. Now that secret file folder has everything that you've ever learned. Now what it does is it's instantly activated whenever you start thinking about something and you're curious about something. Now, then you use your evidence. Now, what evidence is clues you see or read. Now, evidence can be anything that you think, that sounds like something I could think of. Now, let's say, to make an inference, you are going to take your schema, your background knowledge, that secret file folder, the stuff you already know, and you're going to use those clues, that evidence that made you go, You're going to put those together, and what you're going to have is you're going to make an inference. Now, is it okay if your inferences aren't always correct? Of course they are. But what good readers do constantly is they constantly read a book, make inferences. That is how we become amazing readers, okay? So just because the author doesn't tell us everything, we can make inferences about anything that we read. You can even make an inference about what a story might be like from the cover of a story. For example, Mrs. Garcia's class, we read this story out loud for fun on one of our Zooms, and what I had my students do was look at the cover. I said, can you make an inference about what this little girl may do? Now, they said she might be funny or she might be silly. They said she might be like a little fairy because she looks really small. Now, all of those things are making them good readers, just like we do. So every time we get a book, second grade, you need to try to make an inference. Now again, to make an inference, you use your schema, your evidence, and then bam, you have your inference. Happy learning, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.